Welcome to the most overplayed game on YouTube of all time, everyone! I'm not quite sure there's a whole lot I can add to the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I mean, everything that there is to say about this game has been said on this platform already. Pretty much everyone and their mom has played through it, so I don't know, maybe I'll try to add a bit more of a personal touch to this one, kind of talk about my more personal experiences as we go through this, but I also kind of wanted to keep my streak of one Zelda game that I really like being played each year on this channel, and Ocarina of Time kind of is the next logical conclusion after I'm done with Breath of the Wild and Twilight Princess, which I have already played before, so here we go. A legendary game in its own right for a vast variety of reasons that we will go over, and I always call my guy Link. I've never been one to kind of project myself into the playable character in these Legend of Zelda games, and that definitely still applied back when I first played Ocarina. How many years ago? I don't even want to think about it, but here we go. In the vast, deep forest of Hyrule, long have I served as the guardian spirit. I am known as the Deku tree. The children of the forest, the Kokiri, live here with me. Each Kokiri has his or her own guardian fairy. However, there is one boy who does not have a fairy. Navi, Navi, where art thou? Come hither. Oh, Navi the fairy, listen to my words, the words of the Deku tree. Dost thou sense it? The climate of evil descending upon this realm. Malevolent forces, even now, are mustering to attack our land of Hyrule. For so long, the Kokiri Forest, the source of life, has stood as a barrier, deterring outsiders and maintaining the order of the world. But before this tremendous evil power, even my power is as nothing. It seems the time has come for the boy without a fairy to begin his journey. The youth whose destiny it is to lead Hyrule to the path of justice and truth. Navi, go now. Find our young friend and guide him to me. I do not have much time left. Fly, Navi, fly. The fate of the forest, nay the world, depends upon thee. Pretty dark and intimidating opening right there, followed by this very cheery segment where we get to see the 3D. Now, I was only 4 years old back in 1998 when this game was released, so I mean, seeing the 3D game for the first time was not a huge revelation for me. Ocarina of Time is kind of a bookmark, landmark portion of my gaming career, I guess you could say, in a different way, kind of just what it stood for and how old I was at the time, and kind of what it is as a game rather than the fact that it was 3D, but, you know, when I try to imagine being a kid in 1998 playing this, and maybe like A Link to the Past on the Super Nintendo had been my first Zelda game, I mean, mind-blowing, right? In a way, I wish I was born a lot earlier so I could experience things like that, but what can you do? Can't change that. Hello, Link. Wake up. The great Deku tree wants to talk to you. Link, get up. Hey, come on. Can Hyrule's destiny really depend on such a lazy boy? You finally woke up. I'm Navi, the fairy. The great Deku tree asked me to be your partner from now on. Nice to meet you. The great Deku tree has summoned you, so let's get going, right now. And here we go! Hey, game still looks pretty good. I am playing this on the Wii U Virtual Console, and I'm aware that that version of the game has a bad reputation for like being too dark. I tried to change it up in my capture settings, add a bit of saturation there to make it a bit more colorful and amp the brightness up a bit. And yes, I'm aware I could play this on an emulator with like widescreen and 1080p and things like that, but we'll get to that. Yahoo! Hi, Link! Oh, that's all you had to say? Well, I was just gonna say, I think there's a bit of charm in kind of the original 480p render, you know? I kinda like it. It was the version I first played, so... Although I didn't originally grow up on the N64 version, was the GameCube one, but... Again, more on that. Wow, a fairy. Finally, a fairy came to you, Link. Wow, that's great news. I'm so happy for you. Now you're a true Kokiri, Link. Is that right? The Great Deku Tree has summoned you? It's quite an honor to talk to the Great Deku Tree. I'll wait for you here. Get going. Go see the Great Deku Tree. Hey, you got it. I'll head on over there. Yeah, so the movement does feel a little weird. You know, going all the way back to 1998, analog control is a tad bit weird. But I'm sure I'll get used to it. You know, we can still press the Z button to get the camera behind us, all that really good stuff, revolutionary stuff for way back in the day. Again, if I had grown up with the Super Nintendo, which I kind of wish I had, because, you know, the Super Nintendo had so many great games, I'd imagine I'd be wowed. But what is it, Navi? The Great Deku Tree has summoned you. Please, come with me. Yeah, but you didn't tell me where to go. Well, the place we have to go is over here first. Do a bit of swimming over here first, I suppose. Hey there, how's it going, fellow resident? Fellow kid? Hey you, Mr. No Fairy. What's your business with the Great Deku Tree? Without a fairy, you're not even a real man. What? You've got a fairy? Say what? The Great Deku Tree actually summoned you. What? Why would he summon you, and not the Great Mido? This isn't funny. I don't believe it. You aren't even fully equipped yet. How do you think you're going to help the Great Deku Tree without both a sword and a shield ready? What? You're right, I don't have my equipment ready, but... if you want to pass through here, you should at least equip a sword and a shield. Sheesh! Okay, fine, sword and shield, basic Zelda stuff, I got it. I'm sure I can get something here at the good old shop. I do have a lot of this game memorized, but... Hi, Link, look this way. Look over here with Z, and talk to me with A. Yeah, this is just basic tutorial stuff. Just use the Z targeting. Again, revolutionary stuff. Oh, God, how old is this game? 24 years old? Oh my God, I don't want to think about it. 23, 24 years old. Yeah, I had to explain this stuff back in the day, you know? People use it as an argument for why the game is aged badly or something like that. But you know, okay, I haven't played it in a while. Yeah, I say a while, it's been a couple of years, so... but I doubt, like, my opinion is gonna change. I used to play this game regularly all the time, like back in the late 2010s, so, I mean, jeez. Hey, what you got for me, shopkeep? The shield is 40 rupees, and I only got 5, so we're gonna have to come back with 40. So like I was saying, I'm fully aware I could emulate this game, and we could have widescreen support, and we could get the 1080p, and we could make everything look a lot sharper, and yada yada yada. Yeah, I know that, okay? Number one, I can't really do that because my computer, well, it could render it easily enough, but I couldn't do any capture software along with it because I got kind of an old clunker as a CPU. And like I said, I kind of like using the old 480p look. It's nostalgic, kind of brings me back. And also was the game as it was originally developed, right? Kind of a reason why I also don't want to go with the 3DS remake. Although I kind of hesitate to call it a remake. I suppose it is a remake in every sense of the word, you know? Looks a lot better, models are a lot nicer, but... I don't know, if that version had been, like, actually up-resed and we got it on Switch or something, for a collection that we should have gotten, what is it, the 35th anniversary? Jesus, why do we get nothing? In fact, that's what I was kind of holding out for with this game, is like, I was thinking, okay, so I'm gonna be playing Ocarina of Time, right? Everyone has already played it, so I may as well be playing it along with everyone else when we're all playing, like, the 3D All-Stars collection that's coming out, because that's what we got for Super Mario last year. And this E3, turns out it's not the case, we're not getting one of those, so I had to go back to OG Ocarina. All this just kind of building up, so that's why I'm playing like this standard Wii U Virtual Console version that doesn't look all that pretty, just... I would like to think people watch me for my good looks and charm and my witty commentary, you know, instead of just the graphical fidelity of the games I play. Insert laugh track there. If I had a laugh track, I'd put it right there, but... Okay, here we go, the Kokiri Sword, yeah. So I guess we're just borrowing the Kokiri Sword. Let's go ahead and equip that. I always thought it was kind of weird how you don't, like, equip the Kokiri Sword right off the bat. You gotta, like... select all the stuff before you can equip it, but there we go. Yeah, why don't we save? I have a bad habit of always pressing the B button on the menu so you get the save prompt instead of just exiting out with what is it, the start button again to do something like that. So that might be happening fairly regularly. But we got the sword. Hey, look at that. I'm gonna try not to explain Ocarina of Time like this is a walkthrough or something. Although, you know, I say that, I was very hesitant to play Breath of the Wild and even Twilight Princess a few years ago. I talked about this as much in those games. Because I was scared, like, you know, these are so oversaturated on YouTube, who on earth is going to want to watch me play this? And oddly enough, I got a couple of comments on Breath of the Wild that, hey, I've never played Breath of the Wild before. And that really shocked me, which has kind of taken away some of my reluctance to do this, I suppose. But, I mean, I just doubt that's the case for this game. Because back when I played Breath of the Wild, it was only a few years old. And Ocarina of Time is almost as old as I am, so, like, if you're like a gaming person on YouTube, and, you know, you subscribe to this old form, let's play content-based type of video flow, I suppose, then, I don't know, I think you've either already watched Ocarina of Time or you've played it before. I mean, for God's sake, like, is there any appeal of a vanilla playthrough of Ocarina of Time on this platform anymore? I don't know if there is, like... You have some people, one of my favorite ones, who, you know, they played the vanilla version years back, and now they're playing, like, freaking randomizers and things like that. It's crazy, man, and I'm just sitting here with a vanilla one. But at the end of the day, you know, I realize I shouldn't be playing games based on, like, oh, is it gonna get views? Like, oh, is it unique? Oh, are people gonna watch me? Like, I should do it for my own sake. And I already played Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild, two Zelda games that I really, really like, so we're rounding it out here with Ocarina of Time. And who knows, maybe the sequel to this game later. So I didn't need to get that blue one, but I always like to get it anyway. I think this one up here, I always thought it was weird. She calls us a real man for getting all the way up here, but, like, this is a forest, this is a community of eternal children, so, like, no one's a real man, no one's a real woman. You're stuck at age, I think, 8, perpetually? No, is it 8 or is it 10? I forget. But we have enough for the shield. Go ahead and get this. Enough arguing over the semantics. It may just be translation things. Although I did watch a fascinating video a while back about, like, the themes of, like, maturity and adulthood and even sexuality within Ocarina of Time. I wasn't entirely convinced, because, you know, the English translation was used. But, God, I need to remember what that video is. Maybe I should put it up right here? Like, look at that or something? Like, check it out. It's one of the most well-produced YouTube videos I have ever seen in my life, so... I mean, yeah, take a look at it if you want to. But there we go. We have a lowly 5 rupees after that, and we do have to equip the shield as well. Let's go ahead and get on that. And with that, we are fully decked out as Young Link. Yeah, Young Link that is still in Smash Ultimate to this day. Kind of surprisingly. Go ahead and shield and all that really good stuff. Let's get on out of here, though. We are fully equipped for the Deku Tree, apparently, since that's a arbitrary requisite now. If you want to see the Great Deku Tree, you should at least equip a sword and a shield. What's that? Oh, you have a Deku shield. And what's that? Is that the Kokiri sword? Good grief! Well, even with all that stuff, a wimp is still a wimp, huh? I, the Great Mido, will never accept you as one of us. Shoot! How did you get to be the favorite of Saria and the Great Deku Tree, huh? Grumble, grumble. Kinda reminds me of those NPCs from the original Legend of Zelda. The one you had to feed meat to because his stomach was growling. Just say grumble, grumble. Oh god, what do we have here? Okay, so we can shield like that, yeah. And then I bring out my sword like that. You know, I'm kind of used to, like, the shield button and the lock-on button being the same. Deku sticks, nice, one of the items, cool. I actually think... Oh, this is a good bit of trivia for you, maybe you don't know this. I think Deku sticks actually do more damage than the Kokiri sword. I'm gonna go ahead and equip that. I mean, I'm not gonna use it right now, we only got like one of them, but I mean, it's something to keep in mind, I guess. How about we, do the left one, there we go. Okay, so, yeah, so we lock on, we shield, and then we hit like that. See, I'm used to more modern Zelda combat systems, I guess. Namely Twilight Princess, you know, that's the one that's kind of most comparable to Ocarina right here. So I don't know, we have to warm up a little bit. Like I said, I haven't played the game in years. Cut me some slack, give me a break. Great Deku Tree, I'm back. Oh, Navi, thou hast returned. Link, welcome. Listen carefully to what I, the Deku Tree, am about to tell thee. Thy slumber these past moons must have been restless, and full of nightmares. As the servants of evil gain strength, A vile climate pervades the land and causes nightmares to those sensitive to it. Verily, thou hast felt it. Link, the time has come to test thy courage. I have been cursed. I need you to break the curse with your wisdom and courage. Dost thou have courage enough to undertake this task? Then enter, brave Link, and thou too, Navi. Navi the fairy, thou must aid Link. And Link, when Navi speaks, use up to listen well to her words of wisdom. First dungeon in the game in about 15 minutes. Take notes, other games in the series. You know, I don't want to throw too much shade. You know, this is all kind of about a celebration of Ocarina of Time and my experiences with Ocarina, but man, Skyward Sword HD just came out and I didn't buy it. I don't want to pay $60 to see if I like that game. I didn't like it on the Wii all those years back. Bless my poor father's heart. He was so happy to buy like the special deluxe edition for me, like when it first came out. With like the golden Wii remote and everything, and I'm still so very thankful for that, but man, I really didn't end up liking that game all that much. I don't even want to know how many minutes it takes to get to your first dungeon in that one. But for first 3D game in the series, where it's still trying to like teach us all the ins and outs of 3D, right? I think 15 minutes to get to the first dungeon, and I was even like reading out dialogue and talking to people I didn't necessarily need to talk to. That's pretty freaking good. I should not have taken that damage right there. Because we got some Deku nuts right there. I need to actually, try to use those more in this playthrough. Some videos that I've watched have illustrated how the Deku nuts can actually be very helpful here in the early game. And I do want to save because we'll come right back to the beginning of the dungeon if I have to quit, but I mean, it's a simple dungeon. Again, it's a welcome to 3D dungeon. And we'll head on up. So this kind of brings me back. I mean, the first time that I saw Ocarina of Time and I guess played it, you know, it was at a friend's house. It wasn't with a system that I had actually owned at the time. Because my first introduction, like, to gaming in general, like, the first system that I ever owned was the Game Boy Advance. You know, it wasn't a 3D console or anything like that. And, okay, sweet, we can climb on it. Yeah. Well, I guess maybe you wouldn't know that. I mean, okay, I know it now, because I played this game constantly as a kid, but so I had a GBA, right? My first game that I ever owned was Super Mario Advance. You can see it right there. A remake of Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES, which was put on the GBA, bundled with the original Mario Bros. Of all things. That was pretty cool. But the type of games that I would play on the GBA would be like your Mario Advances, your Sonic Advances, you know, the things like that, you know, the very colorful mascot platformer type of games. And that was kind of video games to me at that young age. I want to say it was 6 years old? Yeah, I think I was 6 or 7. On top of Pokemon as well, you know, kind of an RPG, like a different genre for sure, but, you know, Pokemon is still just about as lighthearted as, like, a Mario or a Sonic was. Or at least Sonic Advance, you know, Sonic hadn't gotten to that stage yet, you know? So, my first exposure to, like, a 3D console, I suppose, would be at my, a good friend... Oh, hold up a sec. Yeah, when we beat this guy... He just tells us that when you jump off a high cliff and hold forward, you'll roll on the ground and not take any damage. However, that doesn't apply for if you're really far up. Sometimes you'll still take damage anyways. So my good friend, like, I guess I don't have to, like, say his name or anything. I'll just go ahead and say my good friend Wes. I don't know if he watches the videos or not, but, you know, I would go over to his place as a little kid all the time, and we would play Mario 64 and Mario Party 1, you know, like all the OGs, but I never played any game like this. And one day I went over to another friend's house, another good friend of mine back in my elementary school days. His name was Bradley. I haven't spoken to him in like 20 years though, so who really cares? But he was playing Ocarina of Time on his N64, and man, it was something else, because it didn't look anything like Mario 64 or Mario Party 1 or anything like that. Definitely none of the GBA games I had ever been playing, so just to see how, you know, like, the presentation of the game was darker, right? But also, like, the story was a little bit more serious as well. But we'll get more to my first impressions as we go on, because, we lost that platform right there. And where does this lead up again? I haven't played this in a while, so, you know, I am kind of filled with mystery. Probably just a heart. Yeah, I thought so. Gotcha. Well, at least whenever I get the compass, that chest won't torture me or anything like that. But I should go ahead and bring out our slingshot. I believe I like to keep the slingshot on... No, yeah, like on the left. So that's what we're gonna do. Go ahead and save it, got the slingshot, why not? Oh, this is another thing, check this out. 3D, look around. Oh, can I invert that? I'm not used to that. Well, we'll just go ahead and get that. And there we go. Feels pretty good, feels pretty good. Oh, and also something else I do is I always press, like, the sword button to, like, get out of the aiming. Well, I should probably just be pressing the A1, but who actually cares? And these things do grow back, actually. I think, again, to go along with, you know, the newbie kind of feel of the dungeon, these things grow back and you can get, like, infinite resources from them. This is great design. I feel like the Deku Tree is a really good first 3D dungeon for the series, you know, kind of overly simplistic by today's standard if you're playing as, like, a 26-year-old man like I am, who's played this multiple times. But, you know, as far as just kind of easing kids into it at the time, and maybe even adults that were playing it at the time, I think it's pretty fantastic. You kind of get a rundown of everything that you're going to need, for the most part, kind of for the rest of the game. And if memory serves, there is actually going to be one more up there that will harass us if I don't take care of it right now. That guy right there. There we go. I think that's everything. Don't think we have anything else to worry about once we take that one down. That's one of those newbie mistakes that I would always make, but after years of playing it, you know, you kind of get used to it. And I know that I kind of use the settings to kind of to amp up the brightness right here. Again, because if you look at the base Wii U version, like, it's just bad. I don't know why it looks so bad compared to the Wii Virtual Console one. But that's not to discount, you know, the actual mood, actual presentation of the game, which, you know, I think Mario 64 is a fair comparison right here. You know, they're the two main games of the two flagship franchises of Nintendo. Because Nintendo wasn't putting Pokemon games on consoles at the time. At least not main series ones. I mean, you get like Pokemon Stadium and things like that, but they weren't like full-fledged Pokemon RPGs. But as one of the big two, I think Mario 64 is a fair comparison, you know? Okay, you again, huh? Well, I was actually looking for, doesn't one of these like jut out more than the other? Because we have to make the grand jump here. No, looks like they all jut out the same. I've missed this a few times. I'm actually going to be kind of humiliated if I miss this. Here we go! Welcome to pure humiliation, ladies and gentlemen.